Hello and welcome back to a little bit of this and a little bit of that. I'm your host, and Alejandro has gotten lost on the way to the studios. You'd think that after being here 12, maybe 13 times, Alejandro would find his way here, but unfortunately, he's lost. Actually, it's very fortunate, so I don't have to suffer through all of Alejandro's incoherent mumbling, his non-English terrible. Anyways, today we will be making delicious Oreo cake. And this Oreo cake, by the way, is kind of like a redo of... Oh, well, alongside me is Alejandro who's unfortunately he has found his way. Was it busy traffic on the freeway, Alejandro? Then why are you late?
We will be making Oreo cake.
Yes, a very special Oreo cake, as I was explaining before Alejandro rudely interrupted me. A very special Oreo cake. As you remember, episode 2 was the episode of Oreo truffles. So, to celebrate that, we will be making dark chocolate and white chocolate. Remember, to prevent racism, Alejandro. People are easily offended these days. Oreo cakes. Anyways, join us on this mystical journey through culinary delight. And Alejandro, get those hands off those tins. First things first, Alejandro you have the right idea, but not quite the right idea, because he never has the right idea here, though we don't know how to cook channel. Well, I know how to cook and Alejandro doesn't know how to cook, but he just overrides the entire thing. Anyways, we will be flouring and greasing these pans, because otherwise a horrible texture will be achieved due to the cake that is stuck on the bottom of these pans. Horrible. Alejandro's done that multiple occasions. As you can see here, Alejandro is delicately greasing these pans, making sure that none of the surface area of the pan is covered in not butter. Ooh, very interesting technique there. Very delicately interesting technique, Alejandro. That's a bit vigorous. And yes, I should step over. Anyways, the technique that I'm using right now is known as
the Vietnamese swirl. And the Vietnamese swirl is not used for disciplinary purposes, but it's actually used for...
Alejandro, what do you think you're doing? Get back here and stop fiddling around with this. Please, I was explaining the Vietnamese swirl, and could you take over and explain what that method entails? No? Anyways, since Alejandro is too ignorant to carry on about his horrible life, he will continue to grease these pans as a punishment. Get going, Alejandro. Alright, that's good enough. That is good enough. Anyways, now what we're going to do is we're just going to get a little bit of flour. Maybe 1/8 of a cup. If you don't have a 1/8 of a cup, you should definitely go on WeightWatchers.com and pick yourself up a 1/8 cup Weight Watchers cup. It's only $3.99 and comes with free shipping. Anyways, we're just going to pour a little bit of this into the pan, shake it around, make sure it gets all of the edges, and then dump the excess flour down Alejandro's throat. Making sure all of the flour gets around the edges because we don't want any of the cake sticking to the pan. Alright, that seems good enough. Now, Alejandro, open wide. Alejandro, calm down. You've gone through this drill multiple times. Alejandro, somebody has to eat this. Alejandro, please get back here. Alejandro, I'm afraid I'm going to have to rip your shoulder out of its socket. Alejandro, just sniff. Good. Alright, now I'm going to be pouring this into the garbage can where it belongs. Actually, due to the law of conservation of Paula Deen, which, if you were too dumb to forget that, the law of conservation of Paula Deen entails that matter cannot be created nor destroyed, so I'm going to be pouring the rest of this into the other pan. While Alejandro finds the perfect cream-colored bowl for the dry ingredients. Yes, egg separation. Anyways, moving around, the excess flour, actually it's not excess anymore, due to the law of conservation of Paula Deen. Alejandro, you missed a spot, how dare you? Making sure that you don't spill any of the flour onto the counter. Alright, and it just needs just a little bit more. Alejandro, do you remember the technique used to separate eggs? I hope you do. Making sure that you don't spill any of the flour onto the counter. Again, you just want to make sure that all the flour goes around and around and around. Alright. Now the rest will be going into the sink. Alright, that is good enough. Perfect, just like that. And Alejandro, in the meantime, would you like to explain what you're doing to the camera?
I am separating egg white.
Very interesting technique, Alejandro. I see you've learned from the masters, being me, the only master of cooking in the entire world. Yes, that's right. I'm even better than Alma Olsen. Anyways, this technique that Alejandro has picked up is known as the egg separation technique on the hands, swirling around just like that. And it's very important that you swirl the egg yolk around on your hands to maximize the extraction of the egg white. Just like this. Alejandro has done a very, I wouldn't say good, but I wouldn't say bad, so terrible job at this. Alejandro, get out of my way. Have you never heard of a thing called personal bubbles? No? Of course you haven't. You haven't even attended kindergarten. Is Alejandro cracking that egg? And Alejandro, how many more eggs are left?
This is the last.
The last egg. Good, because I didn't want to watch you struggle. Oh my, that's... Oh, Alejandro! Oh, and that beep marks the ceremonial up to temperature of our 350-degree oven. And Alejandro, how dare you drop that egg yolk into the egg white? Just want to make sure, actually don't want to make sure, but if you find little chunks in your egg white, you don't need to worry because those are just salmonella, little strands of salmonella that can easily be cooked out if you cook it in 200 degrees or higher. That destroys the salmonella bacteria and brings peace to the world. Why did I grab a spoon? A bowl, Alejandro. And yes, the age-old question. Urine or bile? Or bile? Or urine or bile? We're waiting, Alejandro. Bile? Bile. Bile it is. And into this beautiful bile colored bowl will the dry ingredients rest. All ingredients will rest, actually, have been corrected by Alejandro. What do you think that is, Alejandro? Alejandro, you've got some pretty nasty looking dandruff. Alejandro shook his head into that bowl and just look at it. Look how horrible that looks. Needs a bit of a rinsing out if you ask me, so what you need to do with all things, just rinse them out. Drying the bowl very carefully to ensure that none of the water is left, because otherwise the cake mix will react with water, causing a reaction known as a single slip reaction. And a single slip reaction can sometimes be categorized under the uranium-352 half-life subcategory, but unfortunately not with this type of cake mix. This type of cake mix creates a type of slip reaction that falls underneath the category of the lithium hydroxamide. Alejandro de Lillahus, do you know what type of chemistry that is? Probably not. He's not as advanced as I am. Now we will be creating a lovely looking well to pour all of our dry ingredients into. Alejandro has done that already, pretty mediocrely, but it'll have to do. Paula Deen will forgive. Anyways, we'll be adding those 3 egg whites, a bit of water, and 1/3 of a cup of vegetable oil. A little bit of history on vegetable oil. Vegetable oil was found in the coal mines of Alaska back in 1903 by none other than Sarah Palin. Yes, Sarah Palin, the governor of Alaska. Actually, the president of the United States of Alaska. They've separated back in 1994, believe it or not. Anyways, it was found in the coal mines up in Alaska, and Sarah Palin herself exclaimed that she has hit soybean gold. Soybean gold, of course, referring to this vegetable oil made out of the oils extracted from soybean. Now, Alejandro de Lillahus, why don't you explain to the camera why you're so obsessed with organizing these Oreos?
We must crush 2 cups.
Oh, yes, 2 cups of Oreos. And again, to prevent racism from spreading, running rampant just like salmonella, we will be adding white and black Oreos as seen here. The black Oreos are double stuffed because Alejandro de Lillahus has a slight trace of racism in him that he just can't help himself but to be racist in terms of Oreo cookies. Anyways, crushing up 2 cups of Oreo cookies to add to the batter. Oh yes, we must mix batter, of course, Alejandro, because that's perfect English. Anyways, I know just the tool for the job. A perfect ancient Roman scoopulupula. And this well helps incorporate air to make it nice and airy. Anyways, yes, pushing down the scoopulupula will perfectly incorporate the cake mix and the wet ingredients in the well. And then the things that carelessly actually slip out of the well, we must electrically mix. Alejandro, why didn't you say that before? It's your family recipe. Why didn't you say we must electrically mix first before I grabbed the scoopulupula and proceeded to move around? Anyways, Alejandro de Lillahus will clean his act together, and we will see you after these short messages. Alejandro de yes, it seems as though Alejandro de Lillahus has found the ancient Weight Watchers pulsar from the 30s, actually. And what he will be doing with that is pulsing them up until finely ground up into a slight powder. No, I'm just gonna let you figure that out. Alejandro, terrible technique. Why don't you add the white and the black, Alejandro? That's a bit racist of you. Very bad, Alejandro. That's what I should be saying. What are you doing, Alejandro? Very good, Alejandro. You're learning from the master. Me. What? A bit more, I would say, Alejandro. That's a bit chunky, Alejandro. That could cause some severe tooth trauma. Alejandro, this whole process of yours is getting quite tiring faster. It seems as though Alejandro's done something very, very wrong. That's good enough, Alejandro. That's very finely ground. Yes, it does look like sand, Alejandro. Alejandro, your buns are so bad. You just made me cry. Anyways, once the Oreos, the white and the black Oreos, have been equally incorporated together, we're just gonna mix them up with our hands. Don't be afraid to get in there. As long as your hands are clean, you can use them to their maximum potential. Yes, we will be incorporating this into the batter, but it has to be 2 cups of this. We can't just carelessly throw in multiple crumbs of Oreos without knowing what we're doing. Anyways, 2 cups of these Oreo mixture will be added into the cake mixture. Alejandro, that is a wet measuring cup. A dry measuring cup will be preferable. 1 cup. One cup into here. And another cup. Alejandro, if this isn't enough, you are going to get major consequences thrown at you.
It is just enough.
Just enough, you say? I don't think so. And just a bit more for good measure.
It's perfect.
Perfect, Alejandro. How dare you say something that you did was perfect? Anyways, mixing up to ensure all of the Oreo crumbs are incorporated. Alejandro, be careful not to overmix, because that will cause peaks and valleys. Very, very adequate, Alejandro de Lillahoo's. Anyways, Alejandro de Lillahoo's will do the honors once again and pour the ingredients into the pans equally, Alejandro, because if they're not equally, severe consequences will be coming your way. Thank you. Go on, Alejandro. I'm waiting. Anyways, Alejandro, what are you doing doping around? We don't have time for this. Alejandro never works around here. He just sits around, lazes around day and day and day after day, expecting that I get things done by myself. Which I usually do. Get going, Alejandro. Come on. We don't have all day. Alejandro, that type of heaviness is known.
Left.
What must I lift, Alejandro? Alejandro, you need to be more specific when you are talking to me because I don't understand.
Left.
Must lift the bowl, Alejandro says. Anyways, Alejandro has supposedly mastered the ancient art of spatula moving, but I have to doubt that. Let's get going, Alejandro. We should be done this by now. Alejandro, quicker! Quicker, Alejandro! Do you want the other one? Get going! Come on, Alejandro. Alright, that's good. That is good, Alejandro. Once that last splop just makes its way... Alright. Perfect. Now we will be spreading equally. Yes, just make sure to jiggle the cake pan around to ensure maximum distribution of the batter. There we go, Alejandro, you didn't jiggle. I will jiggle for him. Anyways, just jiggling this pan equally. Alright, perfect. Now, we'll be adding the cakes into the butter. I mean, the oven, not the butter. I'm slipping, Alejandro. I don't understand anything anymore. I'm turning into Alejandro. Yes, of course the oven's ready. Were you not paying attention to the ceremonial beep? Of course, how silly of me. I should have known that these oven mitts were located in the bottom of the cupboard. Alejandro, these are for you. I wouldn't risk my life. That's why you risk yours. To save me. And into the oven they go for approximately 25 to 35 minutes, or until a toothpick comes out clean. Or until Alejandro touches his tongue to the front and it burns off. Alright, Alejandro, get your hands off of that liquid soybean. Anyways, we will be making the frosting now, as if you're not blind, you would see that the cakes are out of the oven and look quite similar to banana bread, and they are cooling as we speak. Anyways, we will be adding 2 egg whites, 3/4 of a cup of shortening. It's Fluffo shortening. Alejandro forgot to buy the regular name brand, so he just got Fluffo. Fluffo of confection. Fluffo of vanilla to make the frosting. 1 teaspoon. Alejandro is correcting me left, right, and center today. He's in charge. Ooh, that was a close one. Anyways, using the moving the egg around and around and around method to extract the yolk. Anyways, on the hand, and just delicately moving it around and around and around, jiggling it away, maybe slip through the fingertips, just like that. Oh no. Oh no, it seems as though we've got a bit of a leak. That's okay, Alejandro. No, I didn't. Alejandro, what do you think you're doing with the Tabasco sauce? That is not the vanilla. Anyways, we have a simple solution for that. But Alejandro, could you grab a nice spoon and scoop the yolk out of that bowl? Alejandro! Anyways, we've got 2 eggs left, so we better make them count. Alright, clearly, after Alejandro's terrible mishap, he cracked the egg and let the egg yolk just run all over the place, completely unprepared for life, Alejandro. Terrible. Alejandro! How dare you! It happened again! Just look at that twice in a row now, Alejandro. Horrible. Alejandro, go weep in the corner. Anyways, I'll show you how separation of eggs is really to be done. Anyways, just delicately crack the egg, split it open, and if you're not feeling risky, and if you don't want to risk your life or others with salmonella contamination, you just want to crack it open. Very delicately. And just move the egg yolk from shell to shell. This method was introduced by, believe it or not, Anna Olsen back on her cooking channel in 2007. Want to make sure that the yolk doesn't break, and just get every last bit of the white as you can, making sure that none of the yolk drips into the bowl. Anyways, that is good. And the second egg, the last egg, it would have been the second to last egg if Alejandro wouldn't have messed up. Anyways, just moving the egg from shell to shell. Making sure that none of the yolk... Oh, welcome back, Alejandro. How was your cry? I can see those tears streaming down that face. Anyways, that is good enough. Oh, Alejandro, I feel so bad for you. You look very depressed. You should get a counselor. Anyways,
3/4 cup.
Alejandro, did you really just say add 3/4 of a cup? Not 3/4 of a cup? It's 3/4 of a cup here in Canada, Alejandro, not 3/4 of a cup. I don't know what country you're from. Anyways, the best way to cope with depression is work. Hard manual labor, so go ahead.
1 cup.
Yes, 3/4 of a cup, Alejandro. Let's go. Hurry up, please. Alejandro de Lillahoo's is sloppily cutting the shortening, and shortening, believe it or not, is actually just liquefied vegetable goo. They just grind up a bunch of carrots and celery, maybe even some broccoli for good measure, put it in a boiler, boil away all of those liquids, put it in a blender, and there's shortening. Beautiful. Anyways, Alejandro is doing a very interesting job at removing the plastic wrap from the shortening. And into that it goes. And while he's doping around, I'm going to be creaming the shortening with a spoon. The difference between shortening and butter is that shortening actually shortens the strands that are incorporated into whatever shortening is in. And this is very special because we are actually shortening salmonella strands today. Salmonella strands, if shortened with shortening, are extremely non-dangerous. So, there's no need to worry when dealing with this mixture. Alright, Alejandro, it's time for you to add the 1/2 cup of icing sugar and the eggs to the mixture.
Vanilla.
And shortening actually repels water. It does not like water, just like I do not like Alejandro de Lillahoo's. So, you're going to want to scrub your hands extra hard, preferably singing the ABCs. But I didn't sing the ABCs because one of our producers is taking a nap and they told me, don't sing the ABCs. What a rude person. Anyways, Alejandro, are you done yet? Anyways, that is good. That is good. Alright, so we will be adding 1/2 cup of this into the urine yellow bowl. For now, we're going to be adding 2 cups into it later, but if we were to add the 2 cups now, it would create a kind of lumpy texture. Isn't that right, Alejandro? This is a very rare type of icing because it has raw egg in it, but we're trying to simulate the flavor and texture of the inside of Oreos, which is actually these exact same ingredients. Anyways, 1/2 cup of the icing sugar. Alejandro, would you mind moving? Thank you. Third cup, 1/2 cup. Perfect, 1/2 cup. Just a bit less now, Alejandro, because you carelessly spilt. Just a bit more, Alejandro. Perfect. And in that it goes. And Alejandro will do the honors and mix. Alejandro, make sure not to spill any of the icing sugar out of the bowl. As you can see, Alejandro has stepped down from his position. Anyways, a fork is an optimal method to use, not a spatula, because spatulas create this undesirable slipperiness. And as you can see here, this is quite similar to the consistency of, well, mashed potatoes that have been left out of the sunlight and have separated from the butter. Anyways, Alejandro, what are you doing? You raise your arms in the air like a frantic freak just to put away the fluffo? Really? Anyways, I will be continuing to mix to destroy all of the clumps of, well, mashed potatoes left outside in the sunlight, left to separate away. Mix with a whisk. Alejandro, you're correcting me all the time today. You better put yourself back into your place before I get Oprah here, you know. Oprah, we need you. Alejandro is extremely abusive, and Oprah, I thought you helped people in need. I'm in need. Why aren't you here? Alejandro de Lillahoo's is now using what's known as an immersion blender to blend up this icing, because clearly we do not have a metal whisk. Thanks a lot, producers. We need to hire a new one. Anyways, Alejandro de Lillahoo's was carefully using this ancient Weight Watchers immersion blender from the 30s. Yes, it is creamy, so we will be adding 2.5 more cups of the icing sugar into this mix. Alejandro is demonstrating terrible technique. He's mushing the Oreo filling icing very non-vigorously. When using immersion blenders, you should be very, very, very vigorously mushing. Anyways, Alejandro, that looks to be enough. Anyways, we will see you for the decorating of the cake. Now that our frosting has been thoroughly incorporated, we just had to add a bit more vanilla because it didn't have quite a delicious taste enough. Alejandro de Lillahoo's and I will now extract the cakes. Alejandro, that was extremely mediocre. That one will definitely not be the top. Anyways, hopefully mine will be better. So we'll be extracting the cakes. Just like this. Being very careful. Beautiful! Just take a look at the difference. Look at this. This is a crumbly, horrible mess. That's Alejandro's extraction. Also, this. And this is perfect. Just feels so smooth. This does not feel smooth. And look at that. Absolutely refined. Anyways, Alejandro, yes, flip. And yes, it will look like that, but we need to put icing in the middle first, Alejandro. What a forgetful person. Anyways, I will be trying to, remove this cake.
No.
Yes, yes, yes. From that
We do
section.
not have enough ice.
It's okay, Alejandro. We'll just put a little bit in. Alejandro de la Luz is now applying a very thin layer of this Oreo cream icing to the middle of the cake to ensure that both of the cakes, my beautiful cake and Alejandro's less than beautiful cake, I don't want to call it anything horrible because Alejandro gets very depressed. Anyways, just to make sure that they stick together. Very interesting technique. Alejandro, what do you call that technique? Is it any specific technique or is it just your made-up technique?
It is ancient family technique.
Ancient family technique.
Number 3.
Anyways, Alejandro de Lillahoo's is actually the last of the Lillahoo's family. The rest of his family died during the Great Plague of 1907. Actually, that's quite sad because I would like to get to know Alejandro de Lillahoo's family because nobody can get worse than Alejandro de Lillahoo's, and it would be nice to see the shining light on his family because he's clearly not it. Whew. Alejandro, you're destroying the cake. Just a bit of icing where Alejandro made a bit of a mishap there. And a bit there as well. Just like that. Making sure that you spread oh so delicately to prevent any crumbling that Alejandro de Lillahoo's has done. Alright, we will now add the other layer of cake. Just like Alejandro has done, but maybe a bit better than that because he's cracked the cake. Anyways, we can see here where the missing chunk is. Alejandro de Lillahoo's horrible flipping technique. We will just be adding it like that, but clearly that's not what it's going to be like. Anyways, we'll now be frosting the cake in a method most elegant. And after Alejandro de Lillahoo's is done, well, if he's at this rate, it'll be at about 10 o'clock p.m. It's 8 right now, but at this rate, Alejandro de Lillahoo's will be finished in 2 hours. So, we will see you back for the decorating of the cake. Alejandro de Lillahoo's. Is that some kind of ancient ritual that you were doing? Some ancient de Lillahoo's family ritual? Probably. Anyways, we will be decorating the cake with white and black Oreos. I want to make sure that it's stuck ever so slightly into the cake. Ensure that none of the Oreos fall down. Beautiful. One more just here. Alejandro, what are you doing? Just standing there. Did you freeze? Anyways, for the top, we will be grinding up more Oreos and just sprinkling them on top. Alright, 3 white, 2 black. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to be a bit racist here because we're running out of Oreos. That is good, Alejandro. We don't want them too. Yes, that is
Not good.
alright, Alejandro, whatever you say. Because clearly you know more than I do. Did you blend it up more? No. Well, then blend it up more, Alejandro.
You said it was good.
Alright. What we're going to do is we're just going to carefully sprinkle just these bits of Oreo onto the middle of the cake. Breaking up any of the larger bits with our hands. Don't be afraid to get in with your hands. If you've washed your hands, then it's fine. Alright, this is looking very beautiful, very not racist at all. Just spread those chunks around. Maybe break this bit that Alejandro missed. Alright. Sprinkling more and more Oreo chunks into the middle. Just like that. And Alejandro will finish it up while I wash my hands. Alejandro de Lillahoo's and I will now do the honors and cut the cake. Alejandro, why were you looking so insane there? Anyways. That's a very interesting approach. Anyways, that's the... Alejandro de Lillahoo's has made a very small, very minimal cut. Probably because he's still depressed. Anyways, scoop them out, Alejandro. What are you waiting for? Come on, keep going. Onto the plate. Oh, that's gonna be yours, Alejandro, because... And that will be mine. I'll get forks. Yours, Alejandro. Let's time for the first bite. Make sure to get a bit of the Oreo topping. And Alejandro. Anyways, let's go. That is actually surprisingly really good. The creaminess from the icing just cuts through all of the cake. And I'm definitely getting the Oreos that... Anyways, Alejandro seems to have some sort of mouth defect. Very, very interesting. Anyways, Alejandro, get back here. Alejandro, get back here. I know you're embarrassed and depressed and apparently making weird noises now all of a sudden, but wasn't that delicious? But Alejandro, you can't deny that that was absolutely delicious despite those noises. Anyways, welcome back to a little... I'm losing it! I'm losing it, Alejandro!
On another episode, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Where we will embark on even more dangerous culinary adventures. Alejandro, you took my line.
We will see you next time.
on a little bit of this and a little bit of that.